Hello all, welcome to RAAONLINE. Myself Dr. Nishantini, Assistant Professor of Pharmacology. Okay, in today's session we are going to see about antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs. Okay, so basically what is a depression? So depression is a common mental disorder. About 5% of adults suffer from depression. Okay, so depression and mania are the affective disorder which affects the human beings. So more women are affected than the men. So depression is one of the important cause that leads to suicide, and we all know that suicide is the fourth leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-old people. Now let us see what are the different types of depression. Okay, there are 9 different types of depression. So first one is the major depression. So what is a major depression? This is nothing but the person who is suffering from major depression is always in a depressed mood. So most of the time he or she will be in a depressed mood. That is called major depression. Then persistent depressive disorder. So what is this? This is otherwise called as dysthymia. That means it is a chronic form of depression. Okay. Then next comes the bipolar disorder. So as the name suggests, the patient or the person who is suffering from bipolar disorders goes into two phases. That is, one is a manic phase and another is the depressive phase. Okay, so the mood swings extremely from depression to mania. Next is the seasonal affective disorder, otherwise called as SAD. So in particular season or in particular period of time in a year, a person used to suffer from this kind of depression, that is seasonal affective disorder. Psychotic depression. So psychotic depression is a major kind of depression, that is the patient needs hospitalization. Okay. Next is the peripartum depression, otherwise called as postpartum depression. Okay, so soon after the birth of the child, the woman or the mother suffers from this kind of depression. Next is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, otherwise called as PMDD. So what is this? So before, that is 1 or 2 weeks prior to the onset of menstruation, women used to affect by this disorder. Next is the situational depression. So this occurs because of the loss of loved ones. Okay, and then atypical depression. So this is in this kind of depression, the patients will have a different kind of features apart from the normal signs and symptoms of depression. So these are the different kinds of depression. Next, let us see some of the symptoms of depression. So first and the major thing is isolation. Okay, so the patient feels isolated from others. Okay, and then suicidal thought. Then there will not be any appetite. Okay, then sleep disturbances, that is the patient used to suffer from insomnia, loss of sleep. And then anger, they will get anger without any reason. And then dependence, mainly to alcohol dependence, and then there will be a loss of memory. The patient will not able to concentrate on anything. Then they will be always in a sad mood. And then no energy, the patient will be very lethargic. So these are some of the important symptoms of depression. Okay, now role of monoamines in depression. So now we are going to see what is the connection between the monoamines and depression. So what are monoamines basically? Norepinephrine or noradrenaline, dopamine and serotonin are called monoamines. So these are the important neurotransmitters which plays an important role in maintaining the mood of a person. Okay, so what is the role of norepinephrine, dopamine and serotonin? See, serotonin is responsible for normal appetite, well-being and sleep, and dopamine is responsible for reward and reinforcement acts and also for the attention. Similarly, norepinephrine, we all know that. So norepinephrine is responsible for the stress response, fight and flight reactions, and it is responsible to maintain the circadian rhythm and also for arousal. Okay, so there should be a balance between all these 3 monoamines, that is norepinephrine, dopamine and serotonin, in order to maintain the mood of the individual. Okay, so particularly norepinephrine and serotonin is responsible for maintaining the mood of the person. Okay, so this picture mainly shows how this monoamine is produced and how the action gets terminated in our body. Okay, so monoamines, I am going to concentrate mainly on the norepinephrine and serotonin. Okay, because most of the antidepressant drugs aims to increase the level of norepinephrine and serotonin in the synaptic cleft. Okay, so how does this norepinephrine produced from our body? So tyrosine is an amino acid from which the dopa is produced with the help of the enzyme tyrosine hydroxylase. So now let us see the role of monoamines in depression. Okay, so now we are going to see about what is the relationship between the monoamines and depression. See, there are three important monoamines in our body that plays an important role in elevating the mood of an individual. Okay, so what are these monoamines? Monoamines are basically norepinephrine, dopamine and serotonin. Okay, because they contains a single amino group that is attached to the aromatic ring with the help of two carbon chains. Okay, so if you see here, so this is the functions of serotonin. So serotonin is responsible for normal appetite and sleep of an individual. Similarly, dopamine is responsible for the reward function, attention and reinforcement. And norepinephrine is responsible for the stress response in our body, and also it is essential to maintain the circadian rhythms. Okay, so all these neurotransmitters plays an important role in maintaining the mood of an individual. So any imbalance between these neurotransmitters leads to